Welcome back, everybody, to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. You already know who I am. I'm your host, Tristan Harlan, here with my co-host, my good friend, my good compadre, my brother from another mother, the Juice Box, Cooper Miller. Cooper, how you doing today?
You know, some say I might be feeling a little juicy like a starburst, but, I'm doing good, Tristan. Thanks for asking. And, with this episode today, we might have a little perfection later on we'll have to talk about. We'll have to wait and see. But, I think we know what time it is.
Oh, yeah, it's time to check in with everybody's favorite news desk correspondent, the one, the only, Miss Ella Jane Britt. Ella Jane, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Tristan. Thanks for asking. So this week we have a multitude of things to talk about, whether that be from baseball to basketball, you name it, we've got it. So like I said, my name is Ella Jane Britt, and welcome back to A-State Athletics. 4 of our track and field athletes captured the gold last night to finish their first day at the Sunbelt Conference Indoor Championship inside of the Birmingham Complex. 6 of these athletes had podium finishes, and the men finished with a total of 55 points, leading second place to South Alabama, and the women trailed with 32 points. The Jaguars trailing with 25 points behind them, and A-State looks to continue this league today, with this being their final competition at the conference championships. Hopefully A-State will be coming home with a trophy. You can catch this matchup live on ESPN+, and the Red Wolves baseball team swept Arkansas Pine Bluff this past weekend, where they will begin their season starting with a 3-0 record. The Valley View native Will French led the team with the 3 runners batted in, as well as 3 hits this past weekend. A-State punched out 15 hits and played an error-free baseball game, while UAPB recorded 13 hits and 4 errors. Brendan Hager went 2 for 3 with a pair of runs. Jared Toller and Alan Greer also registered with 2 hits apiece, while the Jonesboro native Cross Jumper reached home base twice. These Red Wolves will face a tough season early, and they are set to travel to the 2022 College World Series Championship field today, as they are set to play Ole Miss. The first pitch is set to be thrown at 4 p.m., and it will be broadcasted live on the SEC Network Plus. You can also listen to this game live from the ticket radio stations. The Arkansas women's bowling team opened a Baker best of 7 bracket play with a perfect 300, and this is the first time in the program's history. They also finished the Midwinter Invitational with a fourth place finish. The 5 bowlers that led A-State our recorded program history are Carly Danvuin, Sarah Sains, Emma Stoll, Faith Welch, and Brooklyn Buchanan. This team is set to take on action on the hardwood March 3rd through the 5th at the Big Red Invite hosted by Nebraska, and all of these matches can be streamed live from the ASU Women's Bowling page, that is /A-State Bowling. The Arkansas State women's basketball sophomore guard Izzy Higginbottom scored a season high of 25 points in order to help lead these Lady Red Wolves to a 69-59 victory over Louisiana this past Saturday. Sophomore guard Maylin Wilkerson also added 16 points, and forward Anna Griffin chipped with 6 points, while the team had a high record of 12 rebounds. This team is set to close out their regular season this week, as they are set for 2 home games. The first game is set to tip off Wednesday night in the First National Bank Arena at 7 p.m., where they will take on ULM. As always, you can watch the game live on ESPN+, or listen to the game live from the EAB Red Wolf Sports Network.
You know, Coop, we've got some exciting stuff to talk about today. Ella Jane kind of hit on it a little bit, but man, one thing that she didn't hit on is the amazing win the Arkansas State Red Wolves had last night. I think you have more on that.
Yes, so last night, if you go to A-State's track Twitter page, you'll see this amazing comeback. James Madison was in the lead. It was a run race, track and field. She was running. She had the lead to the very end. Our own A-State came in at the last second to beat her and to take home the win. And if you haven't seen that video, go and watch it. Honestly, I watched it late last night when you did end up sending it, and it got me pumped up watching that. Like, the crowd, the announcers were into it, and it was just a great comeback. So if you haven't seen it, be sure to go to the A-State Tracks page on Twitter and watch the amazing comeback.
Yeah, Cooper, we've got a fun show today. We've got a future of Maggie Tillman we're going to get to later, and we got a lot of other things going on. We're going to be talking about some women's basketball, some men's basketball, and a lot of other things. But stick around, guys, because we got a lot more coming up on the next segment. You're watching Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
ASU-TV, covering all your favorite sports. From Red Wolf Roundtable to Westside Football and more, ASU-TV has you covered. Tune in now to ASU-TV for news and coverage on these sports and more.
Welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV, guys. Now we're going to go and talk about some basketball, but not just any basketball. We're going to be talking about some women's basketball who was red hot in First National Bank Arena the past two games. First game, they beat South Alabama convincingly. And the next game, which we're going to talk more about, they beat Louisiana in an exciting game. And not to mention that, but Izzy Higginbottom, she dropped her season high, tying her season high, 25 points. What an absolute phenomenal feat for the young guard from Batesville, Arkansas.
And not to mention, at the end of the first quarter, your Red Wolves, they were leading 21-2, and I'm pretty sure 17 of those points were from Izzy Higginbottom. She was on that game, and like you said last week, when Izzy Higginbottom is playing her type of basketball, you don't see that team lose very often.
Right. I mean, she shot 7 to 6 from 16 from the field. Sorry, words are hard sometimes. The whole team shot 31% from the field, out-rebounded Louisiana 49-45, shot 25% from three, and beat them by 10. But that's not the biggest thing I want to talk about when we're talking about the women's team, okay? You got to look at the conference standings for this team to understand what's really going on here, okay? So you see the conference standings here up right now, but I want to pause real quick before we move on to the next set. There is a two-way tie at first between James Madison and Troy, who both sit at 12-4. A three-way tie for third between Texas State, Southern Miss, and Old Dominion, who all sit at 11-5. Now at 6, there's also a two-way tie between Georgia Southern and Lala at 10-6. Now you're seeing Marshall, they're at 7. Coastal Carolina, they're at 8, and it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, what does this mean for Arkansas State? Okay, so you got to look at it like this: it's a three-way tie at 9th, and between Georgia State, Arkansas State, and Appalachian State, who are all at 5-11. But man, if you look from maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago when we were talking more heavily about Anna Griffin and Izzy Higginbottom being the star players for this team, you got to look at it like this. This team really came from nothing.
Yeah.
Honestly, they came from nothing. They started out the year struggling 0-2, which, there's an interesting stat about that Coop's going to get to later. But this team now is fighting for a spot to –
Yeah, and like you're saying, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about standings. They were dead last. We're talking about what are we going to do. Hopefully we can, work our way up. But right now, if we can finish out, we have 2 more home games, those are 2 must-win games. I don't care what you say about anything. Those are our must-2 wins right there at the end of the season.
100%.
They're at home. There's no reason you should lose them. And the way we've been playing, we've knocked off Troy, who's tied for first.
Right.
And then we knocked off La last week convincingly. Right. They did make a comeback, but we still beat them. Those are 2 good teams that are going to be playing day 2, in my opinion. Why not us? Don't let the Red Wolves get hot. That's all I got to say. Don't let Coach Rogers and her Red Wolves get hot.
Most
because
definitely.
Once they get hot and going, I don't think there's a team in the rest of the conference that we shouldn't have a problem with. I think we've proven that we can beat any team in the conference.
Right, and our next game coming up, which is ULM, which we're going to preview real quick, and you're talking about a must-win game for this team. I mean, you're seeing it right now. These 2 teams are neck and neck in the stat line, but in reality, they shouldn't be. Because, I mean, let's go back to just last game, for example. We've got the stats right here thanks to our great producer, Easton John. You got to look at it like this. Malia Wilkerson, she hit almost every 3-pointer she shot, even with Izzy at both 2 to 5. But the one big thing that not a lot of people that I haven't heard of, except maybe Matt Stoltz and Brad Bobo, shout out to our good friends there, but this team is shooting almost 100% from free throw. If you get those 2, if you get anybody from the Red Wolves there at the free throw line, they're making it. And another interesting note that I want to add is with Kiera Ellis's double-double in the previous game, there has now been 8 different team members of that team that has gotten a double-double. So it is very interesting to see that, you know, we talked earlier here and on After Dark that maybe somebody's struggling, but this team has really shown that they don't care what you think. They don't care what anybody's got to say about them because they're going to play their brand of basketball and they're going to show why. They should have never been in this situation. They knocked off Troy. They lost bad to James Madison. I get that, but this team, Pensacola, Sunbelt Conference Tournament, we've seen it in previous years. We've talked about it in previous years, that it's going to be exciting. And, Coop, the one question I want to pose to you is what has fired this team up?
I really think we've talked about it every week. Coach Rogers, when she called her team out and said, you know, I have confidence in them, but you know what? My teams, they're playing with no heart. They're playing with no confidence. It looks like they don't want to be out there. They're losing. They don't care. And she basically challenged them. She didn't come out straightforward and say, I'm challenging team. She said it in a way where her team saw that and said, you know what? If our coach is seeing that, then the fans are seeing that, the teams that we're playing seeing that. And so they said, you know what? We got to get things going. And they've done that. They've won 4 of their last 6. And right now is the perfect time to get hot and get going. And if we can have Melody Kopinga, who really, 6 points, 4 rebounds, it's not a crazy game, but she got 4 straight points off of second chance, just going up there, getting the rebound. And as well as she shot 2 for 3 from the free throw line, and being the big man, the center, the guy in the middle, that's pretty good shooting 2 for 3 from the free throw line.
Right, Cooper. And, you know, we're going to move on to the men's basketball, but first we're going to take another short break. You guys are watching Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
ASU-TV, covering all your favorite sports. From Red Wolf Roundtable to Westside football and more, ASU-TV has you covered. Tune in now to ASU-TV for news and coverage on these sports and more.
Welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. Now it's time to talk about the men's basketball team. And Cooper, the last time out, they played Georgia State, and there was one man that was electric from the three-point line, and that's my favorite player on this team. No harm, no foul to the other guys that I know, but Terrence T-Baby Ford, he was electric. He shot exceptionally well from the three-point land. He shot 5 for 5, and we got a little highlights to go with the Magic. Look at it. Give it to the Mayor Bono. Well, bam. Three-point shot up and good. Terrence Ford was electric.
He was, and 4 of his, out of 5 of his threes, 4 of them were back to back to back to back. It was electrifying in that arena. That place was going crazy because that man couldn't miss. And then you have, speaking of the Mayor Bono, he shot 2 for 4 as well from the three-point land. And when they're on, there's not many teams that can beat us.
Right, and I want to talk about the three-headed guarded monster that we haven't not really talked about as much as we should have had. So, you know, no disrespect to these guys. But real quick, Terrence Ford, Caleb Fields, and Avery Phelps. Those 3 guys have been electric so far from the season. You know, Caleb Fields has had 21 points, and he shot 7 of 8 from the free throw line and shot 7 from 13 from the field. Okay. Now, you may be thinking, some of you guys, gals, whoever, may not know basketball as well as some others may, but when you got a guard that's hurt, that plays 38 minutes and still is giving you 21 on 7 of 13 shooting, that is good. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been a lot of talk about Coach Bellato's coaching ways, coaching woes, and how he's playing these guys when they're hurt. But look, it's basketball, dog. Like, you gonna be hurt, and you gonna have to play hurt. Like, that's just the nature of the beast.
And speaking of that, people are arguing about the injuries. 9 times out of 10, the coach just says, hey, walks up to the player, you know, I really think you should rest this game. We don't want to re-aggravate your injury. But those players, when you talk to them, they're saying, I'm fine, coach. They want to be out there. So it's not Coach Bellato's fault, because those guys out there, they want to be out there. They're fighting to get minutes. They're fighting to be out there with their brothers playing the game they love. I mean, Caleb Fields, he knows I'm not going to sit out a couple games at this late in the end of the season, because he has his brothers, as Marquise Davis, Omar El Sheikh, both seniors. He wants to go out there and play one more time at home with them, and I don't blame him. And Terrence, when he was hurt, he was saying, I'll be back. I'll be back. I'm playing 100%. He was saying, I don't care what the coaches say, well, I'm going to play. And sometimes you got to let them play, because like Tristan's saying, in basketball or any sport, you're going to get beat up sometimes, but the teams that win are the teams that fight the hardest. And right now, they're really finding their way. And what I've liked that Bellato has done, he's having Avery Phelps come off the bench.
Right, and you got to look at the stats for this game to really know what went well for this team, okay? So Arkansas State, they shot 48%, 45% from 3. And it was a really good game. I mean, it was senior night. It was a success. And, you know, the next game, it's going to be a test against Lala. But I think the Red Wolves are going to be in a good spot where they can win. You know, it's not going to take much for them to be out, but it's going to take a lot for them to be fully out. But, guys, when we come back, we're going to be talking some bowling, and we may just have a special little sit-down with Maggie Toma here on the Red Wolf Roundtable. We'll be back after this.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
ASU-TV, covering all your favorite sports. From Red Wolf Roundtable to Westside Football and more, ASU-TV has you covered. Tune in now to ASU-TV for news and coverage on these sports and more.
All right, guys, welcome back. Now I'm sitting here with bowler Maggie Toma. Maggie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us today. So you're a freshman bowler, and some might not know you bowl with both hands. So I got to ask, what's that like?
I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's a unique style, and not a lot of females do it, so it's good. I think it's cool to be doing it.
And, you know, how does it feel to be the first two-handed bowler on the Junior USA team?
I think it's pretty unique. You know, it's really growing on the female side, especially in the youngers. So I hope I'm able to, like, inspire somebody out there, and they can always look up to me. But being the first one, I think it's kind of crazy.
Right, and you're a freshman from Texas. So what made you choose the Arkansas State bowling team?
Ever since I started looking at colleges, I knew Arkansas State was the one I wanted to go to. You know, they have a really great bowling program, and they had the major that I wanted, which was pretty hard to find at some places, but I always knew that I wanted to come here.
Right, and you guys are really deep into the season so far. So what's been kind of your favorite moment so far from your freshman campaign?
I would think being able to have the opportunity to compete at our Wisconsin tournament was like my biggest moment, because that was my first time competing collegiately, and I did pretty well at that. So.
Right, and you guys are just now coming off the Sunshine State Classic, and you guys finished second. So what does that mean to your campaign this season? Does it kind of rock you off a little bit, or does it just keep on going on towards the end of the season?
It definitely keeps us going. You know, we've been working really hard these past few months, and getting that second place finish really brings us up there with our confidence. So we're gonna bring that into our home tournament this weekend and hopefully stay on top.
Right, and you guys have been on the road majority of the season. So what's it like to now have a home invitational here in Jonesboro?
It's definitely pretty great. I'm able to bring some of my friends out here who support me, and just having all the supporters behind me while in my town.
Right, and I heard from your teammates and your coach that you got a nickname.
I do.
So if you could you kind of elaborate on that and how it started?
So my team called me Big Marge. I really am not sure how that got brought along. I think I mentioned it in the beginning of the year from high school, and it just stuck. And so every time I bowl, everywhere I go, I get called Big Marge.
All right, well, Maggie, thank you so much for sitting down and doing this interview with us. Guys, hope you enjoy. This is Maggie Toma telling you why the bowling team is a team you don't want to miss out on. Welcome back, and a special thank you to Big Marge for, sitting down with us, talking about the A-State bowling team and why it's such a special team to go watch.
Yes, I mean, they're been a good team. They, like we were talking about earlier, Ellie told us about it, 5 different bowlers from that team bowled a perfect game. That's 300, and if you've never gone bowling, that's really hard to do.
Yeah, and speaking
without
of,
the bumpers, by the way. They
right,
didn't use the bumpers.
Right. Not something that me and you have to use because we absolutely suck. But anyways, the bowling team, their upcoming event is the first one, the Big Red Invite in Nebraska, from March 3rd to March 5th. The Music City Classic for hosted by Vanderbilt, go Commodores. It's hosted from March 17th to March 19th. Hopefully, some of the players will get to meet Morgan Wallen and maybe some Luke Combs down there in Nashville.
Be a good time.
Oh, yeah. We may need to go. But then the conference championship, the Southland Bowling League Championship, will be hosted from March 24th to 26th. And then, what starts on April 8th, you may ask? That is the NCAA tournament. The only team here at Arkansas State that has almost won the national championship for, a big time. Hey, listen, Easton. Sometimes you just got to count the close ones.
Yes.
But Cooper, we were talking about the baseball team.
Yes.
Excuse me, and they just swept Pine Bluff 3-0. And real quick, gotta show support. Put on the baseball hat. Go ahead and flick it up real quick. But Cooper, what was that interesting stat you were telling us before the show about the baseball team?
All right. So Saturday they won on a walk-off, and it moved them to 2-0 on the season. And I got to thinking, what other team has done that? And so I looked at it. Football, they started the year 1-1, losing to Ohio State. And then our soccer team, they started the year off 0-1, losing to UAPB week 1. Then our volleyball team, they started off 0-1. Who else? Basketball, the men, they started off 1-1.
Yeah, they lost
and then
LSU.
the women started off 0-1. So baseball is the only team sport here at Arkansas State to start the year undefeated at 2-0.
Yeah, Cooper, I mean, that's crazy, the fact that...
Especially with the season they had last year.
Oh, God, yes. But the fact of the matter is this, is that is just one of those stats that is just so rare and so complex, the fact that you actually took the time to go back and look through all the schedules and all the teams to determine if the baseball team is the first team to start off 3-0 like they have.
Yeah, I really thought, I was like, no, I think basketball started off 2-0, and when I looked at their schedule, I was like, oh, crap. They played at LSU. Should have won that game, by the way. Just couldn't hit our shots.
Yeah, that would have been embarrassing for LSU, but...
Yeah. But we went out, we played our brand of ball. We won the first game 12-2. We won the next game, like I said, on the walk-off 4-3, and then the sweep of Sunday, get the broomsticks out, we won 12-8. Now, we did give up 5 runs in the 9th inning, but that's why we scored 12 runs, to give our pitchers that cushion they need.
Right, and right now the baseball team's actually in Oxford, Mississippi, playing the defending national champions, the Ole Miss Rebels, and I think Easton just came in my ear and told me that it was 2-1 right now, Ole Miss. So,
Okay.
hey, we scored on them.
You know what? I do not like Ole Miss.
Nobody does.
I don't really like them. So if Arkansas State, please pull this one out. It's baseball. Anything can happen.
Right, so real quick, we're going to go ahead and send it back to our news desk correspondent, Ella Jane Britt. Ella Jane, what's your opinions on the Ole Miss Rebels?
I always have a close piece of my heart with the Ole Miss Rebels just because one of my friends was going to go there, but I'm a Red Wolf at heart, so Wolves up. Don't forget this week is the Lady Red Wolves basketball team final 2 home games to close out their regular season on Wednesday and Friday. Tip-off for both games will be at 7 p.m. at the First National Bank Arena. If you can make it to the game, it will be streamed live on the ESPN+, or you can listen to the game live from the EAB Red Wolf Sports Network.
Well, Ella Jane, thank you so much. And Cooper, you know, I think it's time that we kind of go ahead and wrap the show up and go watch some A-State baseball.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be having our Wolves up, and we're going to make sure they beat Ole Miss. We might drive down to Oxford to throw the game if we need to.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't say that.
Exactly. But guys, thank you so much for watching Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. We'll be back next Tuesday to talk all things Arkansas State. See you guys.